The film begins by showing a rainy night scene in which a woman named Jennifer is being pursued by a mysterious man. She tries to call, but it seems her attempt has failed because the call doesn't go through. Jump to seeing a white pickup truck approaching. She immediately runs away from the place and enters a public restroom there. While the mysterious man is checking the toilet, she manages to escape and makes her way back to her car. The car refuses to start, causing her even more panic as the mysterious man suddenly appears in front of her. The car's engine is able to start after several attempts. She quickly presses the gas pedal, but the car moves backwards instead, and it turns out that the car has been connected to the car behind using a cable. Since she has no other choice, she decides to get out of the car and runs from there. But unfortunately, she is struck and knocked unconscious by a passing car. Jennifer is then immediately taken to the hospital for emergency treatment, and the medical staff mentions that she doesn't have an ID card with her. While the doctors are attempting to save her life, her husband, named Russell Williams, arrives at the hospital and rushes inside to see his wife, but he is not allowed to go inside. Soon after, the nurse master informs Russell that the accident caused the bleed in Jennifer's brain, resulting in amnesia, in which she is unable to recall the events from the previous night or even her previous life. The following day, Russell Williams meets with a detective named Frank Page, and he is interrogated about his wife's alleged incident to this point. The detective then informs them that Jennifer's car is missing, and he will try to start finding out about the car first. After a few days in hospital, his wife finally regains consciousness. Russell then introduces himself to her and tells her that her name is Jennifer Williams. In order to help her in regaining her old memories, he shows Jennifer a photo of the two of them. Russell then begins to talk about their past, where they both used to work in the same place before. Jennifer appears to be excited to hear about their past, and she inquires about her parents as well. The scene then moves to an unknown man going to the hospital with flowers to meet Jennifer. But the nurse only allows a family member to come to visit her at this moment. After a few days in the hospital, Jennifer has now been given permission to be discharged, and has been provided with a cane due to the fact that her leg has not yet recovered. After that, Jennifer is now brought by Russell to their house in the mountains. When they get home, Russell takes Jennifer through all of the memories and activities that they had previously enjoyed there at first. He tries to assist her in gradually regaining her memory by having her look at their wedding photograph. While Russell is cooking food for Jennifer, he suddenly gets a phone call from Detective Page, so he rushes out of the house to get a better signal. Detective Page informs them that they still haven't found his wife's car. The scene then moves to a man who had previously visited the hospital with flowers. Russell suddenly appears from behind and asks what his purpose was in sending the flower. At this point, Russell doesn't wait any longer to show his psycho nature by hitting and killing the man. He then takes the man's body to his home and buries it in the backyard of his house. The next day, he then tells Jennifer that he will be going to town to buy some stuff, as well as buy a new phone for her, as Detective Page tries to call Russell, but is only connected to Russell's voicemail. At this moment, Detective Page really wants to meet with Jennifer, so he tries to search their home address in the police database under the name Russell Williams. But strangely, that name doesn't come up in the county he lives in. Therefore, Detective asks his colleague to trace Russell's cell phone number for him. Jennifer, who is alone at home, spent her time looking through old photographs of herself and Russell. Jennifer notices something strange, which is that Russell's hair does not appear to be the same color as it does in the mirror. This raises her suspicions, prompting her to go downstairs and begin checking Russell's laptop. A short time later, Russell returns home, and Jennifer quickly pretends to be exploring in search of something she feels familiar with. Russell then gives her the new cell phone he bought, but when she turns it on, there is no signal since they are now in the mountains. The scene then shifts to Detective Page, who is visiting Russell's home address, which Russell provided to the hospital before. But it turns out that the house is not Russell Williams, but rather someone else's, and the resident has never heard of Russell and Jennifer Williams there. Just as Russell is about to make out with Jennifer, Jennifer's mind is suddenly traumatized by memories of her past, and she cancels her intention to make out with him. As a result, Russell becomes angry as his own wife refuses to let him touch her. Russell apologizes and goes downstairs to keep an eye on Jennifer on his laptop. In the police station, Detective Page contacts the nurse masters. The nurse masters then explain that the doctor's note states that he showed some family photos and identified a back tattoo. The following day, Detective Page tries to visit a tattoo parlor in the area and inquires about the meaning of the tattoo design in the photo. The man tries to check it out and says that the tattoo design means a name for Alan. Detective Page then begins searching for Jennifer's identity in the database by exchanging Jennifer's last name with Alan. Using Jennifer's maiden name, he now knows that Jennifer shared a house with her parents in San Jose, so he rushes to that address right away. But after he arrives to that address, he finds that the door to the house has not even been closed. And that's when Jennifer's parents are found dead in horrific condition. On the following morning, while Russell is taking a shower, Jennifer, who is already filled with suspicion, tries to take his wallet. After Russell has left, she then checks his wallet and finally finds her driver's license card with her maiden name. Meanwhile, Detective Page continues his investigation by visiting Jennifer and Russell's workplace. Everything is finally answered as the detective knows that the man who brought Jennifer home is not her husband. Jennifer, on the other hand, rushes down to William's office, and it turns out that the laptop's password is her maiden name.it. Get to see how Ryan begins his photo editing process, and Jennifer finds the original and unedited photo of Russell Williams. She finally remembers her real memories with her real husband and realizes that the man responsible for her traumatic events is Ryan. Unfortunately, Jennifer intends to contact someone, but the internet tells her not to do so, and she sees that the internet cable has been cut. Ryan Garrity, on the other hand, has just realized that he has left his wallet, and he is forced to return home. Meanwhile, Jennifer rushes out of the house and searches for a signal on her cell phone, only to find that her cell phone has been tampered with by Ryan. She continues to run, but she trips and falls near the spot where Ryan had buried the man's body. Ryan then appears out of nowhere and hits her in the head with a rock. Jennifer is brought back to her bedroom, and she then asks what Ryan had done to her husband. As Ryan hears this, he immediately chains Jennifer's leg and heads out to get some supplies. A short time later, Jennifer wakes up from her unconsciousness and tries with all her efforts to let go of her leg. As she manages to free her leg, she comes out of the room and goes to the garage, where she can smell the stench there. It turns out that her car has already been hidden in the garage, so she tries to check the car and eventually manages to find her cell phone. Shortly after, Ryan returns home from the supermarket, prompting Jennifer to hide in the car. Ryan then opens the trunk of the car, and it turns out that the stench is coming from the body of the Raul Russell Williams, which had been in the trunk. After Ryan comes out, Jennifer rushes back into the room, but she doesn't have enough time to tie her leg back, and instead has to cover her legs with a blanket. Ryan takes a suspicious look at the blanket that covers her feet and attempts to open it. Fortunately, at the same time, they're startled by the sound of the front gate bell, and it turns out that their guest this time is Detective Page. Ryan has no choice and is forced to give the detective entry into his yard. As he gets in, Detective Page looks around and sees the Williams family nameplate. He then reveals that the psycho man has also changed his family nameplate to the Williams family. The detective is finally able to track down a white car, which is the only hint provided by the witnesses. Jennifer tries to call out to the detective, asking for help, and tells him to go to the back door. But just as he is about to walk into the house, Ryan bursts in from behind him and knocks Page unconscious. At this point, Jennifer doesn't have time to do anything, and Ryan takes her back to her room. He then goes out to take care of Detective Page and grabs a rope. After that, he returns to the room and ties Jennifer's hands. Ryan eventually tells her everything about her memories, including the fact that he had always admired Jennifer before. But in the end, his efforts are futile because Jennifer chose Russell Williams over him, which made him furious. So he chose to kill Jennifer's parents, Russell, and anyone else who could get in his way. In fact, he should have killed Jennifer as well, but his plans change when he discovers that Jennifer is suffering from amnesia. Detective Page turns out to be inside the locked freezer, and he's trying to break the freezer door. While Ryan goes downstairs to move the detective's car and get some water, Jennifer tries to grab a lighter to burn the ropes that tie her hands, and she is able to burn the ropes before Ryan comes into the room. Ryan realizes that she is no longer there. From behind, Jennifer slowly approaches and hits him until he passes out. Jennifer then runs away from there and forces herself down the stairwell as quickly as she can. Unfortunately, Brian has still managed to get to his feet, smashing the locked door and starting to chase Jennifer. The detective manages to get out of the freezer. Jennifer then tries to hit Ryan from behind, but it doesn't work. Ryan looks like he really wants to end her life, but Detective Page suddenly appears and pushes Ryan to the ground. As the detective is struggling to fight Ryan, Jennifer takes the gun and tries to shoot Ryan. She is able to help the detective by shooting and killing Ryan on the spot. 3 months later, Jennifer is now able to walk normally again, and she's paying a visit to Detective Page. Detective Page hands her a letter from Russell Williams, which he received from the boss of their previous office. Jennifer then reads the letter, which states that Russell will always love her regardless of what will happen in the future.
Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.